For today's episode, I sat down with Serge Kadjo, the founder of Product Flow. This guy has had success in ag tech, built brain-computer interfaces backed by some of the biggest companies, and now he's building what I think is the most powerful AI tool for hardware design that I've ever seen. Product Flow is basically GitHub for hardware, collaboration platform that streamlines the entire product development process, printed circuit board design, coding, CAD design, you name it. And the AI engine under the hood that he's built called Haitch turns text prompts into CAD models, not images, like parametric files you can actually 3D print and use in designs. So if you build physical products, if you work in medtech, if you're an engineer or a product manager trying to go from idea to prototype faster, or just do product development better and faster with less stuff slipping through the cracks, this episode is really an unfair advantage, and you're going to get an inside peek at both Haitch, which is available right now. You can go check that out, as well as Product Flow. So both of those kind of products. So we go deep on what's actually broken about hardware development, how AI is going to compress weeks or even months of design work into quick sprints and days. So I know you're going to enjoy this episode. Serge is an absolute legend and still early in his career. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Serge, excited to have you on the pod. For those listening, Serge Kadjo is an amazing industrial engineer. He's like one of those people that you meet and you like never forget, and like truly brilliant. And I really do mean that, Serge. And today we're going to get into a million things, a lot of it revolving around hardware. Serge is the founder and CEO at Product Flow. He's doing some amazing things with technology, but in pursuit of building hardware better, faster, easier. That's from designing it. That's from printed circuit boards. That's from code. That's from CAD models. Like, he's got stuff for all of it, and we're going to get into all of it, and I'm really excited. But you're going to learn today, what is Haitch, what is Product Flow, and how it's accelerating design teams and engineering teams and product development teams. What's broken about the hardware development process, and kind of like how that is also, broken in medtech, and ways that you can streamline your product development, make less mistakes, save a ton of time, and ultimately deliver better products. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Serge, thank you so much for joining the pod.
Thank you so much again. Really appreciate it, sir.
Yeah. So for the people that don't already know you, if you could just give us a quick introduction on yourself, kind of your journey, how you got to where you are today.
So how will I start this thing? I guess I would say from the beginning, my background is mainly in hardware. I'm a guy that like to touch things, like not only to build stuff, but also to put your brain in what I'm building. Funny enough, when I started, when I was again young, I told my mom that I want to build robots. That was back in Africa, in West Africa. My mom turned around and looked at me. She's like, "Yeah, if you want to build robot, then you have to go far away, and you have to go to other countries." And that's what I did. I traveled around the world to learn how to build robots, to learn how to turn ideas into physical product. And my motto is pretty simple: how to impact the world, how to have good impact, and how to empower people to build stuff. That's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, whenever we first met, I was like, hey, like, how do you say your name? And you were like, well, it's French and it's actually this, but like, can you tell that story? Because I think it's just brilliant. But it also like showcases like how kind of like a Renaissance man you are, in the sense that you've like studied in all these different places.
Yeah, that's true. So my name is Serge, so it's a French name, but I've been literally everywhere. And I remember when I was in Poland, they called me Sergey. And I was like, okay, fine, you can call me Sergey. In China, okay, forget about it. I wasn't even able to pronounce it. So, but here in the US, people call me Serge. I'm like, fine, whatever it is. If you guys feel comfortable, my name is Serge, and I appreciate it. Like, the goal is to make people comfortable, and also be on the same level. So yeah, that's a small story behind the name. But yeah,
that's really cool though. That's really cool. Like, yeah, Spencer's pretty easy for me, for most people, and I've never studied internationally. I do get called Steven like a crazy amount though.
Okay.
Like to the point where I like just won't even correct people sometimes. I'm just like, yeah, for some reason, I guess maybe I look like a Steven or something. So tell me I know you've had like kind of a history prior to starting, right? Product Flow, right?
Yeah.
You had some positions and worked on some different companies. And I think one of them was even Medtech, right? Can you walk us through some of like the projects? Because I always think those are like the fingerprints of like what makes people who they are, right? Their early projects and endeavors.
That's true. So A little bit about my career. I started in the military, where I served my country, and then after that, I went in big in enterprise company. Truth to be told, like I didn't spend a lot of time there. I think roughly like less than a year. Main reason why, I'm a troublemaker. I ask reason why every time, and when things are set in stone, I'm like, no, it's not the right space for me because I try to disrupt and I try to innovate. So I did not spend a lot of time in enterprise and big companies. Then from there, I create my first startup. It was in North Africa and Morocco. That was my first exit with in North Africa. Companies called IDE Solar, and we were operating in the smart agriculture system in order to collect all of the data from the plant, smart irrigation, and then sell the data back to the farmers and to the international logistic company. From there, I went to China with my first medtech company. It's called Muna. They were developing a pillowcase to improve sleep quality for women past menopause. I also co-founded another deep tech company called NanoNap. It was a BCI slash TDCS, so BCI for brain control interface, and TDCS and TACS for transcranial direct current simulation and transcranial alternative current simulation. This company was a French company, co-founded or supported by the CERN, which is a research agency in Europe, and the military and defense program also in Europe to actually empower soldier to actually, gain more brain activity or brain power even with less sleep. So the idea behind is pretty straightforward. Your brain generates a signal when you sleep, especially in deep sleep. So if you can copy and then replicate that signal at scale, the brain will be able to regenerate faster, and then your deep sleep cycle will be smaller. So yep, we did that too. Deep tech is tough. I'm not gonna lie. Going for regulation because this was a type 3 device in Europe. So yeah, we didn't manage to see through it at the end of the tunnel, but it was a nice research. It was a nice paper. It was a nice experience. And then from there, I moved to robotics and AI a few years ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, the pillow for postmenopausal, sorry, postpartum, right?
Yeah.
Postpartum women. That's really interesting. There was a company, I was entrepreneur in residence for an accelerator many, many
Mm-hmm.
years ago. I mean, I think
Mm-hmm.
it was like literally like 9 years ago at this point. There was a company that had, it was like a pillow, but it had like electronics and things in it, and it like basically it like did part detection of like where kind of are you in your sleep cycle and your stillness and all of that stuff, and then it would like play these like binaural beats that was basically trying to kind of like mimic the waveform
Yep.
that you see when you get into deep sleep with the brain
Yep.
waves. And so like I always thought it was really great, and I was like, man, this could be like something for sure. And I'm like, I need to check in and like see like where they are these days, or if because they were like did really well on Kickstarter and then got into the accelerator, and I just completely lost track of them.
It is quite a wonderful space. The sleep space is one of the spaces that I tend to. It's like I firmly believe that we need to spend more time there because it is like kind of recharging the battery for the body, for the human body. And the more we understand the sleep space, the more we are able to to take energy or to take high yield from our sleep. We are better
Yes.
operating. It's the same thing that we do with tech.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point. And then like, biologically we're not evolving as fast as everything around us is. And so
Yeah.
like with the stimulation that we have and this attention economy and screens and clicks and ads and everything, I could see sleep start to like deteriorate significantly, even more so than it already is, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot
Yeah.
of people are sleep deprived. It's just like
Yeah.
it's kind of just the nascent status, right? But no, I think it's. Do you speak Chinese, by the way?
I do speak Chinese, but just for bargaining. As a good African, it's like when I went in China, it was like also a side note for me. It's like wherever I go, I try to not I try. It's a must for me to understand the culture to speak the language. So
Yeah.
it's the best way for you to insert yourself in the culture. It's the best way for you to I won't say to not welcome, but also to not frustrate. To be welcome, but also to not frustrate or make your host difficult to accommodate. So for
Oh,
me,
for
it's a
sure.
must have. I speak languages everywhere I go, from Polish to Moroccan to Arabic and to Chinese, but I don't write. That is for me. I don't write the language, I just speak it. So for me, the basic is
Yeah. No, but there's really something to that. I mean, like, I went to Seoul, South Korea for like a week, and
mm-hmm,
like really tried to like pick things up, and like while I was there learning it before I went, was trying to learn what I could.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And by the time I left, I was like, I could probably say like 20 words, phrases, kind of thing.
That's
But
great.
like, you could definitely tell like when you were trying, people were like, oh, at least they're trying. You know what I
Yes.
mean? They're not just like typing it into Google Translate and shoving the phone in their face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, it's so cool. Well, I think it's really interesting too, though, that I think people that have multidisciplinary backgrounds and I don't mean multidisciplinary in the sense of like AI and industrial design or whatever. Like that's definitely helpful too. But you worked in agriculture and ag tech, which was and kind of IoT, right? And then
Yeah.
it was hardware and deep tech and BCI and like all of those things together. Like when you come out of that, like you have just like such a deep and broad understanding of systems, and like so much of the time that I've found when you're dealing with something like whether it's a spine instrument or whether it's a waterproof case or whatever it is, right? Like
Hmm.
the solution to a design challenge that you have has probably already been solved for another thing, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere
Yeah.
else, right? Like, oh, how are we going to do this waterproof seal with this like tubing that's coming out? And it's like, well, in like industrial cable management, like they have
Hmm.
these grommet systems that we're now using, that kind of stealing that concept from someone else, maybe miniaturizing it, modifying it. But like when you have that broad scope across like industries like that, it makes those types of like light bulb moments in design like way more frequent and way
Yeah.
easier to get. So okay, now that we're kind of caught up to speed a little bit, how you got to where you are today, I do want to dive into like product flow. So like we're going to get into specifically, hey, is it H or H?
It
Like
is.
is the H silent?
That's the idea. The H should be silent because again, we when I was designing, when I was naming the product, for me was the H for the hardware, to say hardware, so it's a later H. And yeah, I don't know. I pronounce it in French, and then when English speaking people start pronouncing it, it's like no, no, we read it Hatch. I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is H. The
I'm
same
going to
way that
say
Google made a mistake. So yeah, that's
yeah.
it.
I'm gonna say H. Like I'm gonna say H. I'm
Thanks.
gonna call it by the right name. Okay. So we are gonna get into H and product flow here in just a bit. Like we're gonna do some demos, but just like walk me through kind of why you started product flow. Like what was the first 6 months, 1 year like? And I know you guys aren't like super old as a
Mhm.
business still, right? So like walk me through like why you started it. What's the genesis? What's the founding story there?
Product flow is when I left my last company as in robotics, it's clearly what you said. After this amount of after almost no past 10 years in building hardware product, I understood that building a hardware product is not as complex as people think. It's more about a system design. I would say I just call it design system thinking. When you understand that you need to have these design system thinking about the product as maybe at the top bottom up or top to bottom process, and then breaking things into step by step, into function, into tools, into a solution, technical solution, you arrive to a result, and you are way more able to communicate your idea and then collaborate with your team. So that was the thing that I wanted to share with other folks in the hardware space. The idea was there how to create a flow in the design process while you develop a hardware product, and that was the name product flow. It's as simple
Yeah.
as it is, empower folks to develop hardware product while streamlining the process and empower collaboration.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So product flow was kind of the initial product, and then
Yeah.
H kind of came out as like a more of like a creative engine that like in essence can feed into product flow, right?
So H came out after we tried to sell. So again, product flow is more like the collaboration aspect, and then H is the underlying brain or AI under the system. While you do the design
Ah,
system, while you're going through a design system, somebody say, "Hey, design I don't know a robotic arm for cleaning tools in medical space." So you have this entire design thinking that you have to go through. Now you can do it yourself as a PM or as engineering manager, but most of the time you can collaborate in real time with another AI agent to support you through the process, or looking for parts, looking for other solution that exists in different space. So the AI engine at the bottom was H. Now, when you start selling to our customers, which are mainly consulting firm and startup and enterprise in the medical space, we have this issue of privacy and security and data. So AI, the model wasn't embedded in the software. We were sending requests to providers. So we understood that what if we just decouple the configuration, the streamline, the file sharing from the AI engine. In that case, if they want just to streamlining the collaboration, they can use our model. They can use product flow for collaboration, streamlining, etc. And
right.
then if now they want to rely on AI, maybe for generation, maybe for deep understanding, maybe for review, etc., we can now plug the model inside. So that was the idea behind H, which is the actual underlying intelligence, while the collaboration layer stays in production.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So we do some AI advisory stuff, you know what I mean? And like
Mm-hmm.
the security piece, we get a lot, right? Like, I'm curious to get your take on this. Like, if you have, I checked this somewhat recently because I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of the AI companies started to like understand that this was an issue of
Yeah.
like adoption issue. But like, I want to say that if you have any level of like a paid plan, like ChatGPT Teams, or like not even the enterprise, but like the Teams business, you know what I mean? Or
Mm-hmm.
like the Claude for Work, like any one of those plans, like they basically, as they say it, like any data egress, right, that's getting sent out, right, or anything that you're doing, basically,
Mm-hmm.
that they're not training the models on that data, like
Mm-hmm.
it is private and secure. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you believe them? Like, do you like how do
Uh,
you view that these days?
my take there would be they can be sued for if they not if they don't follow it, if they don't respect the statement, especially if it's in the privacy policy or the term and condition. So they can be sued for that, and I don't think that any company want to be above and sue for that. So
Right.
I would say you can like respect what they're saying,
Yeah, you
but
can trust it.
you
Yeah.
can. I want to trust it, like because that's the idea. No, you should not trust anyone. A security base, there's zero trust. That's the sentence of security. There's zero trust. You build your system thinking that they might train on it. So that
Yeah.
is my take there. So, but at least you can believe what they're saying, but do not trust them. There's a difference between believing and then trusting. So you can believe what they're
Yeah,
saying, but
that
don't trust them. Um,
that's fair. That's fair.
and then the second point is like depending on the provider too. There are providers, for example, right now, OpenAI and ChatGPT, or they are legally bound to save all of the data on the server. Like whether you enterprise or whatever you're doing, ChatGPT or OpenAI is legally bound due to the. I think they have a legal issue with a publisher newsletter. Right now, they have to store everything. So
Yeah.
even if they don't train, the data is there. They cannot delete it. They have to store it. So for a security reason too, if somebody managed to have access to these data, yes, it's there. So even they might not train in it, but if they have any type of security intrusion, the data is there. Somebody can read it. So there's this thing also that you need to keep in mind too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think like understanding the security implications of this stuff is super important, but like, especially for most people that I would call low level or like basically zero level AI literacy, which, like,
Mm-hmm.
let's be honest, are a lot of the people like making the decisions on this stuff at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Like the execs and whatnot and the VPs. My theory on this too is like, yes, I trust them, respect it, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that they tell me it's secure, they're not training on it, I believe that. But also, like, I think people think like, oh, that they're using our data means that like somebody can just go now search on Google and find your conversation or whatever. And like, no, it's what we're talking about is like your maybe even if they were, it would be like your
Mm-hmm.
chat basically dialogue
Yeah.
being fed into a like 20 billion parameter array, and now there's some little sparse bits of parameters out there, and it's like, what's the actual security risk of that then being, it's just not how large language models work, that like it's a token parameter based
Yes.
like linkage, and like I
Yes.
just don't see there being any real risk from that anyway of them training on the data. I don't know if maybe I'm being naive there, but
There is okay. There's two main things that I want to say most of the time. Is like your data is your knowledge. That is the key that is happening there. If you are an expert in a level in the domain, if you use ChatGPT, you share your file, you reason through that, you do back and forth. Really, you're doing error. You're doing reinforcement learning, like telling ChatGPT, "Oh, whatever you did was wrong. Do it like this or whatever." This data is there. So if they want to make ChatGPT better, for example, in Medtech, and then Spencer has a translation chat where Spencer show you how to do things properly, you are training ChatGPT on being a better Spencer. So
yeah.
I agree. It's not you, the model might not in the case return exactly your format or the way that you format your data, etc. But we saw case, for example, for video generation where I don't know if you saw MKBHD, the YouTuber, when everyone asked to create a YouTuber videos on a tech videos YouTuber, it really like bring straight MKHB setup, The guy is a black guy sitting in front of a phone. It's like,
Wow.
okay, yeah, we all know that this is MKBHD. Even the signature at the bottom, it looks the same. I'm like, yeah, you train on my data. So that's a bottleneck there. Now, to the second point, when you mentioned that, oh, some people cannot go search my chat history, there was a bug like this. I think it was a few months ago when you do ChatGPT share, when you share your comment.
Yeah, share the public link. It makes it
Yes.
public. Yeah.
So people didn't really understand. People didn't realize that, okay, this link is public. So by definition, Google can index it. And if somebody index it, somebody Google can they can really read your touch.
Yes.
So again, it's mainly good. We said that the biggest security issue is a person. It's me and you.
Yes.
We are the biggest flaws in the system, in the security system. But all of those things happen. So yeah.
Yeah, that is the thing I want to like. We are going so deep on the security concerns with AI and stuff. Like, I mean, like broadly, people are and they're so concerned. But I was like, you are I think you're 100 times more at risk with like
Yeah.
everything else that you do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Sharing passwords, not changing your password for a year or 5 years or whatever, like all
Yeah.
of those things. So like, I think it's good we're thinking about it because I don't think these companies can like always be trusted. But like, I also think it's like, if you're not doing this with any other vendor or provider or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just go ahead and get into it. Like,
Okay.
would love to if you can, pull up some stuff. Like, we can do a little demo. You can share your screen. We can go through like product flow and H.
Sounds good. Let me see what I can do here. I'll try to share my screen.
While you're doing that, I'm just going to talk through something like for
Go
the
ahead.
audience. Like, by the way, like I like literally, so this is how we met. Like, I literally saw H and product flow, and I was like, I have to try this, right? And so I like went on, like created a profile on H, messed around with it. I had this like I basically had an LLM help me build a prompt for H, and it was like this very specific like baby bottle washer rack that you can put in your dishwasher that holds all the components in the bottles and stuff like that. And you can go ahead and pull up your screen share.
Yeah,
By the
yeah.
way. Anyways, and I plugged it into H, and I was like, wow, this thing is crazy awesome. And it was really cool. I actually like put the same prompt into like Nano Banano and like ChatGPT and tried to get it to like create these images, and it was like really good, really simple. But the thing about H that he's about to get into is that it makes you a CAD model. It's awesome. Okay, take it away.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So the way that, as we described a few minutes ago, we try to dissociate what is called our AI engine from our collaboration platform. So H is our AI engine. What I mean by that, H can really empower folks to go from idea to what I call product design output. I will go to my dashboard and then I will try to share a few of the products that I have here. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
So when you get on Edge, you can do mainly two things. You can do what is called industrial design, and then you can do product design or mechanical design. So let me go with this industrial design here. I just want to look for something. Let me go this one. So this is a product that we created few okay, I'm on prod and I can go to design. Let me do this one. Yes. So when
Yeah,
you
that
get
looks
an
great.
H, for example, yes, I have. This is a design that I have in mind. Was like, okay, I want to design like a new type of table, an amorphic table, and you can just enter your prompt there, enter the idea, and then you can generate pictures of that. That picture can be converted into 3D shape, and then from there you can also create what is called a CMF. This is more for a designer that will understand it. You can generate videos of that design. It's more for product designer, like industrial designer for the collaboration there. So I will
Yep.
show you, explain how you can get there. So you get on the home page. There's two tabs here. One is for CAD design, so mechanical parameter design, parametric design, and then the other one is more for, as I mentioned, industrial design. So you can go ahead and then try it. I'm on my live project right now, so you see a few stuff over here. Let me also share, for example, this Canva view where I was working. This is an actual project I'm working with the customers. They were asking, for example, we want a sliding mechanism on top of this gate, on top of this cover, how this mechanism can look like. So I just
Mm-hmm.
took it and then I brought it to Canva and then I asked the model, show me how I can add a sliding mechanism to cover this. So the model actually add these representation on top of that. Okay, you have three different mechanisms. And then I said, okay, can you make an exploded view of this mechanism? So that's how I got it this. So me, I'm not designing right now, but at least I can, it can help me think through the
Yeah.
process, making sure that I understand the entire design flow.
Yeah, and just to for clarity for everyone, so kind of you were working with a client, and like the initial input that they gave you that you then initially fed in was what? Was it a CAD model? Was it an image or
It's just this screenshot of these model. It was just those
just those
images,
screenshots?
those screenshot, and I was like, hey, here is the concern of the customers. They say that they want to cover this drill during operation, so show me model mechanism that I can use to cover these model these mesh without changing the entire system. And then the model
Yep,
went
got it.
ahead and then generated these pictures.
That's so awesome. That's really, really awesome. So it gave you, so you got those screenshots, then
Yeah.
you described kind of the problem, right? Like the problem, the task, the goal, right? Like this is what I want. It gave you three different options
Yep.
visualized like they're on the right side of the canvas. And then you said, hey, I like this one. Go ahead and give me an exploded view of this. And it
Yep.
breaks that down into an exploded view. That's simply stunning. And those are PNGs, right? Like it's
Yes.
generating.
Yes, those are
Gotcha.
PNG that's generated. So again, this we are on the. Oops, let me go back here. We are on the design system. This is more like industrial designer to showcase the view, etc.
Yeah.
So
Here, can I say one thing that I love
go
about
ahead.
this? People are like, "Oh, AI gets stuff wrong all the time." Yeah, so do humans.
Yeah,
Like, do you start your design process with one design and then just keep pushing forward? It's like, no, you get like 8, 9, 10 on the table, and then you pick the best one. Okay, so that's what we're doing here, right? You're using
true.
AI to help kind of spur that process. It's not replacing your process, right? You're
Yeah.
helping it kind of spur your process, give you a little bit more creative horsepower. And in
Mm-hmm.
this case, like, visualize these things almost instantly so that
Yeah.
you can like better understand the feasibility of designs faster, right? Like
Correct.
that's why I love it, right? People think
Correct.
it's like, oh, it has to get it right every time. Certain things you want it to get it right, but then like the creative expression side, it displayed and exemplified here is like incredible to me.
Thanks. So that is this is the concept and this is the idea behind the process. Now this is again, as I mentioned, more on the industrial design aspect. Now there's also the engineering aspect. I will then pick one design over that I have here. Yes. So
Yeah, this
this
is what.
engineering
Yeah,
aspect. Yes. So what this one does actually, we grab an image of maybe it's from the when you're done with the design system, you can just create this exploded view. Best case scenario. So, but whenever you get the image there, you can grab that image and then now pass it to the CAD engine. Now, what this CAD engine does technically, it grabbed this image and then went ahead, understand the entire design system, whatever is inside, and then from there convert it into a 3D parametric shape like this one. So these and
yeah. So it's
include.
taking an image input, right, flat
Mhm,
PNG image input, and converting it
mhm.
into a parametric model.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
awesome. So cool.
Let me go here. I'll just share this tab instead, and I will try to see if we can find better model I have here. Let me go. I'm just trying to find a better one that is easy to understand. Great, this one for example. So this is what we got. I started with this engineering drawing. I will go back to the view and then I'll rebuild it. So I started with this engineering drawing, for example. On this engineering drawing is the Misumi part, which includes it's a clamp, it's a mechanical part. So think about it. Okay, I want to design this mechanical part, for example. So I grab this
Yep,
image, I pass this image in the chat, and then I ask the model to design the image.
that's
So
awesome.
at the end of the process, the model will output my CAD file. Is just rebuilding right now, sending the script to the server, rebuilding everything, and then sending the actual image. But when you go here, it will send you during the design process. It will send you what's called the design brief. So it analyzes the image and then extracts all of the information that you need, which is the bore diameter, the axis, the slip dimension. It went through the design constraint, whatever you need to take in consideration. The DFM, design for manufacturing, you understand that's the CNC milling part, the aluminum part, the critical diameters. It went for DFA if there's any DFA there, manufacturing process analysis, and then structure analysis. So all of this has been captured and then included in the thinking process. Now,
That's so awesome.
now you have these parameter tab where all of these value are parameter that extracted from this. So if anything is wrong, if you want to include something, if you want to change something, you just come here, change the dimension for 2 to 4, for example, and then you rebuild. We just go ahead and then rebuild this part automatically. So it's like really visually editing the file as you want in the further process.
Yep.
You can then download the STL file, like the 3D file, if you want to download it and then print it yourself, or you can just send the file straight to our printing manufacturers. So this is what happened. You click on the print.
I want to pause here for a second, right? So you can view the 3D view, right? You can view the brief that you just walked through. You can view the specific parameters of those like critical dimensions and then modify those if you need. And then you can export to drawing, like with that button, right? You can export to drawing, but you uploaded to drawing, right? So that you
just
can,
let you in this case
to a drawing.
Yep.
Yeah, and it creates like a part print, which is incredible. And then you can export also as like an STL file. And it looks like step file is coming. Is that a feature that's coming, or
both of them are included? Both of them are included. So it's like as soon as you finish the rebuild, yes. As soon as you finish the rebuild, you have, because the STL is just for viewer, for like viewing, but the step file is like literally the parametric one. So it's just sending to the server to build it and then resend it. So that's why it's
right.
As soon as it's done,
God, that's incredible. So I feel like this is like more people need to know about this, because like I feel like so many people, especially on like the, you know, like clinical innovator side or whatever, they're like, I can see it in my head, I know what it needs to look like or whatever. And so like they could just feed in with a specific prompt, no images at all, right? And it will create this 3D model. They can view the 3D model, like here, the STL file. They can flip it around. They can go in the chat and say, no, I need this feature to be more like this. And they can edit it that way, right?
Yeah.
And then they can download that STL or step file, download the drawing, and then take it to somebody that is like a skilled mechanical engineer. And like they will have cut down so much of kind of the back and forth in the timeline that it takes to go from like idea concept to like, hey, we have something that we can ship to proto labs and actually get some prototypes on, right?
Yeah.
Like really, really amazing. And okay, I want to switch to product flow in a second. But guys, like you have to go try this tool. Like you can try it for free. It's so freaking awesome. And I want more people in medtech to know about this.
Thanks.
The other thing before we leave, you got to show them the arcade. You got to show them the arcade.
Oh, for sure. So while you're generating the CAD file, like again, CAD takes time. So while you're generating the CAD file, you can just hop on the arcade side, and then there you have your entire screen. So I tend to place mine into the 3D view. You press space, and then you have you can really play in the meantime, just waiting as you wait for your CAD to be done. So yes,
this was so cool. And with a lot of things, right? Like. You know, especially when you're doing something this complex, like it does take some time, right? You have to like send it to the model has to do its thing. There's a lot of different steps. And so like I did it for the first time, and that was like one of the first things that hit me. I was like, wow, like, yeah, this may take 2-3 minutes, but like it was done and I was still playing Tetris. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Those are the two one. Yeah. It's when we were working on that, and then we saw the time that it takes, like a fine, like, guys, let's put a game right there in the meantime.
So freaking cool, man. So freaking cool. Okay. Now everybody go create an account, try this. Let's switch over to product flow.
Sounds good. So don't forget, you can also send it to a manufacturer, as I mentioned, to print it. So feel free to do that. We have connection straight with the manufacturer, so the part are directly imported. Let me share this tab. Instead, you will see here our clamp has been directly imported to the manufacturer with all of the parameters. So everything is available for you here, so you don't.
Nice. So do you have like preferred manufacturers that like when you want to send it to them, it sends it to these preferred groups?
Yes. So we have two manufacturers right now in the US. Sorry, one in the US and one in China. This went to the Chinese manufacturer because in my setting I selected cheap manufacturing line. So you went straight to PCBWay. But if you want a more high quality and local one, you can go to Shapeways, which is our US and Europe manufacturers.
Gotcha. I see a future collaboration where there's like a Medtech vendors plugin where it like helps you find for like very hyper specific Medtech stuff. But anyways, we can talk about that later.
For sure.
But yeah, so if you could pull up product flow, and while you're pulling that up on your screen, I'll just finish that story from earlier. of how we met. Like, so I like tried it out, and then I just DM'd him on LinkedIn. I was like, dude, I love this. We got to meet. I want to talk to you. Want to get you on the pod. And so like, and it was because it was a video of you on LinkedIn, just like using the product and showing how
Yeah.
it works. And so like the power of showing what you build, showing how it works, just getting on camera and doing it, like power of those connections. Okay, this is product flow. Take it
This is
away.
product flow. Yeah. Product flow, as I mentioned again, product flow is more on the collaboration aspect. The main reason why we design product flow is to empower a team to work on the same, to streamline the product development journey. What we mean by that, we can streamline it by 75 to 80%. How we do that, it is in one place, we manage to actually have access to all of the, I would call it engineering file, from the mechanical file all the way to the electrical file, to the drawing, to the PCB, to the code base, everything in one place and everything in version control. What that means, we don't only just view the file, we read and ingest it. So what I mean by that, we are able to understand what is happening inside and then generate a broader understanding of the entire product development journey. This is mainly dedicated to engineering manager, product manager, if you're working into the field as for a consulting firm or for a medtech space or for a medtech manufacturers. If you have multiple products that you're looking for example, in my case, we have multiple workspace, and for each product, I have a dedicated workspace for that. And yeah, these workspace are therefore to represent one single product. So you can branch between workspace, you can branch between product, and then you can have the entire version control there. So
Yeah.
that is
So
this is mainly product flow.
yeah. So, and just for everybody, right? So say you're building, and this could even be like a fixture for a process, right?
Yeah,
Technically, right? Like,
yeah.
but say you're building a device, it's like a semi-robotic arm or something like that, or let's say like some type of like drug delivery device that
Mm-hmm.
is part mechanical actuating pump. There's a printed circuit board. There's a power source. There is an algorithm that has to be on board, or software that's controlling flow rates, emergency settings, like all of these different things, right? Like when you're doing this product development right now, you're kind of just like hodgepodging these silos and hoping that you don't miss things in the gaps, because like, your printed circuit board design and then the code that's being written, it's going to be saved on that. And then all of the things
Mm-hmm.
for the power source and the wiring and then the mechanical design, like all of that kind of exists right now in these individual silos. And oftentimes like with individual people, whether it's on your team or the contract manufacturer or design and development firm, right?
Yeah.
And so this is basically bringing all of that together, not just from like a UI standpoint, right? But bringing it all together from kind of a data intelligence standpoint, so that
Yes.
you can understand the interconnection of these things, right? And where there are dependencies and where changes to one thing, is going to impact and requires a change in this other thing, right? And have it all be viewable in a collaborative workspace. Like, I think this is so brilliant. I really do. I think it's like really, really fantastic.
Thanks. So yeah, this is what we call the file, the file view. There's also what's also called the tree view. So the tree view looks more like this. So this is another project again. That's another workspace, but this is a tree view. So after you upload all of your file that I shared a few minutes ago, you have the entire file sharing, the entire code base, etc. Now the model that again, if you decide to use the AI engine, or you can build this tree by yourself, we break down the entire project that you're building into an entire flow. That's what why the name product flow, which include the main
Yep.
function, why these things is associated, the all of the internal function that are inside, the design requirement, the parameters, the task, if you have any attachment. So if the file, since we ingested the file, we're able to know that, okay, this part of the file is for this function, this component is for this function. So we can directly link to the file within function, or you can come in and do it the thing manually if you want.
Yep.
So until you go down to the final part, which is at the bottom here. Now, why we did all of this is now you can affect this thing to the task as again as a task to your team with the link date, etc. Or you can send the model, you can send this request back to the model to generate it. That is where H come in. The H that you guys saw at the beginning of the presentation, when you're able to design the part or do the design review, etc., do the actual parametric design. This is where it's coming. So if you need to have a chassis, aluminum, etc., with all of the constraints has been put in, you can then send this model, send this request like H design this part for me. So that
Right.
is the
So can
power
I
of the system.
let me use an example here, right? So
Mhm.
say you're building this constructs like a drug delivery device, whatever, and you have like currently in like the housing, or maybe you've already got like a design concept or whatever, and you've
Yeah,
got a housing to house that battery, right?
yeah,
And you think the battery is going to be, 10 by 12 by 20 millimeters or something like
yeah,
that, right? And then you say, hey, we're actually going to source the battery from this group, and it's actually 14 by 16 by 18 or something like that, right? It's a different battery geometry. So you
yeah,
need to modify that housing. So you
yeah.
could go into that part and basically create that, use those updated parameters to have the agent rebuild that housing component for the battery based on the updated parameters that you have, and just push it immediately and get that redesigned.
Correct. That's it. So
Crazy awesome.
this is the idea behind from the collaboration that you have with your team. Again, as I mentioned, you collaborate in real time with your team. Let me share this tab instead. You collaborate in real time with your team with the task sharing. Let me show another project that we have tasks and all of the things are already there. So for the engineering, like people say, okay, as an engineer, I don't want to hop between file, CAD file, etc. The goal here is not to for the actual engineer to hop between CAD file or to use our to upload the file manually. No, we have plugin that actually sync with Onshape and Fusion 360 if you use any of these tools, or if you use local storage design file like SolidWorks, CATIA, NX. We just sync straight with your folder that you ping on your computer, and then we bring all of the data back on the server. So you as an engineer, we don't ask you to change your design card. Don't change us. Don't do anything, just do your stuff in your CAD software. We will sync to with our server. We keep everyone on track. We update the task if need to be updated. And then if something is easy enough to be designed by the model, you just go to the design tray and then you can ask the model to design this part automatically without
Right.
relying
Got
on
it.
the team.
Right, got it. So that's a really good point. I didn't know that. So like you can say like, hey, we need to like one of the tasks is like, build this part, right? And or like update this part. And so the engineer goes into their Onshape or goes into their SolidWorks or whatever, like
Mhm.
makes those modifications, saves it, it syncs,
Yeah.
and then is that task automatically updated? Does it detect that, or like can they just go in and then say like, okay, now I'm going to Kanban drag this task over to like complete it?
Yes, yes. So we will review. We generate kind of a report. The report will tell because if as soon as the engineer finish the design, we'll not update the task, but we'll generate a report say like, hey, it has been done. It's like more like I would say the git commit message. We commit the message,
Yeah,
we commit the update saying that here's the thing that has been done with that modification. So the engineer doesn't need to change and touch anything. We just update the model, and then it's up to the engineer to go now drag it to push it in done, because that is like we tend to say that can we don't rely, the goal is not to rely on the model to do this, I would say, important check system. We
yeah,
even in anything that we do, we have a scoring system. It's like how confident are we in this execution. So
yeah.
we see every time a scoring system. We say, hey, we are 20% confident in this one, 60% confident in this one. So that's how also we make sure that we are not overselling the capabilities of the AI system.
God, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. Really, really, really awesome. Okay. Thank you for that demo of product flow. And again, if you are a design and development team, if you're at a CDMO, if you like just want to have better capabilities in terms of like interdisciplinary workflows and product flows, you need to check this out. You have to check this out. This was an awesome demo. We'll get back into some like normal questions, but like that was super fun to walk through. Like I hadn't seen
Thanks.
that much inside of product flow yet, and I'm like so jazzed right now. Just like looking at it, just thinking about it. That's awesome. Okay, let me try to like reel in my excitement and just get back to some questions here. So I'll just say this comment and then I'll a question to follow. But one of the things that kills me and it really pains me about medtech innovation is that we have some of like the brightest and smartest people and most brilliant, biomedical engineers and mechanical engineers and stuff. And I feel like the way that we innovate like hasn't really changed in like 10 to 15 years. And I think like one proof point of that is the fact that we're still using, paper-based quality management systems. Like over 50% of people are still using those when EQMSs exist and are great.
Yeah.
And like, I just feel like there's that saying of like, hey, yeah, are you working in the business or working on the business, right? Where it's like, when you're in the business, you're too in the weeds. You can't really make like big strategic changes. You're kind of just like, bogged down. But when you're working on the business, right, you're making moves that can make the entire business operate more efficiently, right? And you're doing stuff that needs to get done. I feel like there's a real massive lack in medtech innovation of people working on innovation. They're working in innovation and they're producing some of the most incredible innovations. But because there's been this lack of working on innovation, like with stuff like H, with stuff like product flow, right? That we have seen still the cost and the time to develop a medical device. It seems like it's getting longer and more expensive. You know what I mean? Like it's not going the other way. The cost to develop software has compressed down to like almost nothing, right? Like days, hours, and $30, right? You get a you get a Replit account and you spend 2 hours and you can have a functioning web app. You know what I mean? I love that about this because we have to have a future in the immediate and near future where developing and getting a medical device to market takes less time and costs less money. And I think this is the type of stuff, right? These products are the type of things that can do that. I want to ask you a question, like, other than what you're doing with product flow and H, like what is that? Do you agree? Like, where are you seeing people do this really well, elsewhere? Like, I'm just curious your thoughts on that kind of like innovation tools to help medtech innovators innovate faster and better, like where you see that right now.
Like, truth to be told, I started this company thinking that we will be able one day to empower everyone to build this type of product at scale and then faster. Sadly to say that it is still complicated. Like hardware is still hard, like especially medtech devices, especially medtech product. Why I'm saying that is because of regulation. I like what you said right now with Replit and Cursor and all of these tools. HE's bigger vision to become like a Cursor or like a Replit for
like an IDE
development.
for hardware, basically.
Exactly. Long term. However, this is the thing. I want to be real. I want to be fair. You won't be able to design a medtech product with H right now. It's like even any of the vibe coding tool that exist online right now. I write software, I write code, I write firmware, I do a lot of stuff. And you can vibe code an application. It will look great. It will be good for 2-3 person, etc. But you try to deploy it and it's a mess. Like it doesn't scale. There's a lot of things that going through. And that's the same thing that is happening in hardware right now, even to a bigger scale. Like when you're developing a hardware product, if it's an IoT product, if it's a home decor, if it's a tool that needs to stay in your bathroom. Yeah, I have one of the design H right now. Oh yeah, by the way, there's a store tab on H, but yeah, you go on H. There's one of these products there where it's like it's just home decor, it's just lamp at home, all of this stuff. This you can do it right now with AI. You can go design a holder for your toothbrush. You can go design, I don't know, a soap holder for your bath. No issues at all. But when you start thinking about complex system, when you start thinking about things that are interconnected, and then you need to make sure that all of the stack works in one go, we are not ready yet. Whether it's in software or in hardware, like if somebody tells you like it works one go in software, it's like, dude, just deploy it, try to get 1,000 people on it, and then come back to me.
Yeah.
Really do that and then came back to me. So.
No, I'm totally with you. And like my take on that is like, that's fine. Like it will get better over time, right?
Yes.
But
yes.
my take on that is just like, not that like, hey, we need to take this process that's currently this and make it like a one-step AI solves the problem. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Is like, you know this in medtech development, like especially like when it's hardware-based medtech development, right? There are like so many of these projects within the project, right?
Yes.
And it could be, component design, and then there's like DFM for the component, and then there's, production and testing, and then there's full assembly and assembly fixtures, and then there's V&V testing, and it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going.
Yeah.
And my take on all of this is that like, when we have people like you and using tools like this, right, and some of the stuff that we're trying to do at Exo and medtech vendors is like, the goal is to say like, hey, here's this project within the larger roadmap project, right? Like we want to take this from here to like here. And you're still going to have to do this really difficult, gritty, grainy 20% endpoint. But if we can condense that 4 to 6 week first 80% down to like a day, that is going to be really impactful for that alone. But if we have tools and workflows that can do that for all these separate projects, all of a sudden you get like a compounding compression where you just cut the development time and cost by half, right? By 60%, right?
Totally agree with you.
and you're not taking the human out. There's still a human in the loop in every single part of that, right? It's still being checked. It still has to go through the design reviews and get approved in the quality management system. But it's just about how can we truncate that initial 80%, or like, I call it like the middle 70, right? It's like you do the first 10% that's gritty and hard and user inputs and all this stuff. And then you compress that middle 70, and the last 20% is that human touch. And I'll give you one example, and this is just something I was like trying to tell my wife about today. It probably sounded like a lunatic, but there's two things I had in mind when I was just like, how can we not perform this with a computational model of some sort, right? And it was, the two things were transit and ship testing, EO residuals, right? For sterilization validation, right? So transit and ship testing. Every single thing in this equation is a known variable, known quantity, right? The transit and ship testing has defined parameters, how far you drop it from, the vibration, all of these things, right? The corrugated packaging, right? The white chipboard box, the tape that you use, how it's packed inside the shipper box, how those unit boxes are configured, the Tyvek lid, the plastic tray, the density of the device inside, the shape, the weight. Every single thing, like where is the IFU in there, right? Like the paper, the label, the material for the label. Every single part of the equation is a known variable, okay? So like, why can we not load this into a computational model and then say, hey, take this box that's like basically a series of like 3D CAD models with their own physical physics-based properties and drop it 6 feet, just like the protocol for a drop and transit test calls for. And then see what happens, right? And like run this simulation over like 1,000 drops, and then you can see like what happens, right? And it made me think like, GTA 6 or name your video game. They're so good these days where it's like Battlefield. I saw something where it was like, if you shoot a person in a specific part of their leg, they'll limp differently than if you shoot them in a different part, right? Or if you hit a windshield with a baseball bat in GTA 6, where you hit it and how hard you hit it will like change how it splinters, right? How the glass cracks. So that's just like one example of like, hey, this test may be 15 grand or 20 grand, right? But doing the test takes a month, right? You have to build the parts to put in the devices and then sterilize them, and building the parts and doing the sterilization, that may take a month or 2 months, right? And then you have to put all that together. That whole process may take 3 months. And you're doing other stuff while you're doing that, but that whole process may take 3 months and cost like $30,000-$40,000. And like, if there's a way that we could basically do this with a computational model and like basically say like, hey, like, keep building the parts, but like, we'll just run it through the model and give you like a pass fail on your transit ship that like maybe you validate with like a tiny sample size version of it. But these are littered across, I feel like, these types of opportunities. Like with EO residuals, it's the same thing. The chamber, the amount of gas, the aeration time, it's all known. And I feel like you could get to like a plus minus 2% accuracy pretty quickly.
I love what you said right now. And if we go back to the beginning of this conversation, when you said that the data that you shared are not trained on models, that's what I was going for. It's like, Spencer, you are an expert in the domain. So there are things that the way that are run, the way that are executed, etc. That I would say, for example, general scientists or researchers that work on ML, they do have the model to do that, but they don't have the use case to apply to it. What I mean by that, there's a 2-minute paper. Again, it's by Dr. Faroche. It's a really brilliant guy's YouTube channel. I say, go check it. The 2-minute paper every day, every time. It's my go-to whenever I have some time. NVIDIA released a paper that is actually the simulation engine ML based for that, literally for that. Like you plot a CAD model and then you say, okay, I want to drop it like this. Show me the simulation. It does FEA, all of the simulation that you want as a model. So it just cut the simulation time, again, I think by factor of 10, etc. And he showed just the same thing. This is also used now in the new game engine that will come in. They won't have morphism, or if you stretch tissues, the fiber will not stretch between them. All of this thing has been tested now by like all of these labs. And what I was going for. It's like, you as an expert, and this is again a tangent that I've been talking to a lot of consultants or people that has domain expertise in the domain. There's a barrier between the research, especially the AI and ML research, and the application in the real world. Because the folks that do have knowledge in the real world don't know how to apply ML in the domain, like even are even not aware of those models existing. So if
Yes.
any way to merge those researchers, those scientists that are actually writing those models and then like literally publishing papers. Like I read two papers a day, like literally because again I'm slow. But folks, like I know folks that read like 20 papers per day, like literally sitting there reading papers every time to just stay up to date with the publication.
Yeah.
But there are ton of publications that have been published, ton of simulation, ton of new models that have been released on a daily basis. But it just stays in the academic space, it just stays in the research space and never arrive in the real world and
Yeah.
the application layer. So that's a gap. Those things exist. The biggest thing is like we don't get a chance. Like the practitioners, the people that do it on a daily basis, don't have access to those tools to actually use it.
It's a great point because like I know this stuff exists, right? But your point about like the people that are domain experts in building these models and the people that are experts in the applications of those in specific places like medtech, they like never cross paths. Like
Exactly.
they're in different worlds, different
Yep.
continents, different universities, different labs, different offices. And honestly, that I think that's a big, maybe the final point here, because I know we're getting on time. Maybe that is one big unlock to how we work on innovation and like fundamentally change how we do it, is bringing together those people that say, we are pushing on the forefronts of models and computational models, physics engines, and we can help you do these things. And then like, I mean, there's a product out of that, right? Like that's a software product that you
I
sell.
agree. I agree, and I think one lab that's doing great it is the Gemini or the Google lab.
Yes.
Those guys are wonderful. They're not only building models for building models; they're actually applying those models in the real world, like the genome sequencing model, the AlphaFold models. Like this is literally models that an ML model that's applying to medical space that are actually used to define medicine, to find folding pattern for genome. This is like again, they are researchers. They write the model, and it's like okay, scientists, doctors, here you go, let's run it. So in the past, if you want to just do a genome folding or determinant sequence for drugs, you have to go test all of this thing manually. Now AlphaFold like literally killed your system in less than 10 minutes. You just said, okay, here's my sequence, just generate the thing. And then it's like, okay, here's the thing coming out. And this is what's happening. But this is just in the in one space where the Google lab was like, okay, we can play there. But there's so many spaces that are actually latent right now because again, it doesn't have this amount of awareness between the research that's done in the ML
Yeah.
and AI compared to the way that we practice it in real world is different.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And I think my final point on this too is like, I think it's really critical because if you have a class 1 device, like really simple, maybe it's a disposable or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like it may help patients, like it may do all the things, right? And it should be a product that should exist in the world. But
Yep.
if it costs like $4 million and like 4 years to get it to market,
Yep.
like you look at kind of the, IRR, the economics of the return, the sales price you have to sell it at to make back the money because you spent so much money. Like you get to this almost like incompatibility zone of like
Mm-hmm.
cost, time, payback,
Mm-hmm.
IRR, where it
Mm-hmm.
creates these things are like not investable as ventures
Yep.
strictly because of the time and resources it takes to get it to market, and then the effect on the sales price and all of the things it has from there. But it's like, okay, let's do all of these things. Let's use different systems, whatever. Like that 4 million 4 years turns into, maybe it's like 18 months and, 1 million
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. All of a sudden, that's a whole different ball game.
I
Like
agree.
to get to a good exit, right, or to get to a point, like the sales price can be lower. It will. I think it could like completely change if we can do these things and and truncate and shrink this innovation cycle. Like we will get more devices helping more patients. Full stop. And medtech will become a more attractive investment opportunity because of it, which is like we have to make that happen because the money's not flowing in like it used to in
I
early
agree.
stage medtech.
I
So
do agree. I do agree.
man, I'm fired up, Serge. Like I could run through a brick wall right
Dude,
now.
dude,
Like
dude.
this was so awesome.
That's a real good chat. Definitely. There's a
Yeah.
long time since I got a chance to, bounce back ideas and then challenge assumption like this. I like it. I like it. Thanks.
Dude,
Thanks
so
for the
awesome.
opportunity again.
So okay, so before we before we wrap it up here, just want to give you kind of floor is yours here. Anything you want to plug, any shout outs you want to give, anything you want to mention, helpful nuggets or tips for the audience. Floor is
Yeah.
yours. Take it away.
The only thing that I would say is like, dude, we're in the wonderful era right now. I won't say there's no more limits, but the limits are really on your imagination. There are tools out there that can help you do a lot of things. I won't say everything that you want, but a lot of things. So please, guys, go try, give it a try. Lower your expectation at the beginning because again, there's marketing and then there's something that will be delivered. Don't get too much cut in the marketing bullshit, but lower your expectation, try to see the nugget that is inside, and then yeah, you will be surprised by what will get out.
Dude, totally agree. Like, keep trying. Persistence with new tools is key,
Yep.
right? Trial and error, persistence, watch YouTube videos,
Yep.
understand how to use it. But I agree, like the biggest limit is imagination right now, and with the tools that are out there and available. So
Definitely.
I'll go ahead and do it for you because you did. I know we talked about the pod, but like, go check out Product Flow. Go try H right now. Like, they're super awesome tools, and like I can already tell you guys have been like shipping stuff and improving it. Go try that, like, seriously. And Serge, just thank you so much for joining the pod. We will put the links to Product Flow and H and your LinkedIn all in the show notes. But dude, hope you have a great rest of the week. Like, let's just keep in touch and like,
For sure.
yeah, talk to you
For
soon.
sure.
Thanks for everybody that tuned into the pod the whole time.
See you.
Yep. See ya. Bye.
Thank you.